Hey everyone, welcome back to another Ironman from scratch video. We're effectively broke. That means it's time to make some money. In order to do so, we're going to have to unlock a few things, namely a new spell book. It's time for one of the most iconic quests in all of Runescape. It's time for Desert Treasure and Ancient Magics. Speaking of iconic quests in Runescape, what's your favorite quest? It can be for the story, content that it unlocks, or maybe you just hate them all. Let me know in the comments below. We've got a few odds and ends that we've got to wrap up before we can get to Desert Treasure. In particular, we've still got Temple of Ikov, which is a prerequisite quest. And as part of Temple of Ikov, we're going to need ourselves some limpwort roots. So at the end of last episode, we planted our first medium farming contract and pickpocketed a bunch of master farmers for seeds. So what I did after that is I ran around to the farming patches and planted a few things, which I'll just run through now, including those limpworts that we need. We need at least 22 limpwort roots to start. Obviously, we'll need some more in the future for super strength potions, but for now we need one for the Kurand Easy diary, one for the Varrock medium diary, and then a bunch for the Temple of Ikov quest. Making sure to plant at least one of the limpwort seeds in Catherby because it's a diary task to harvest them from here for the Kandaran diary as well. Also going to plant a toadflax while we're in Catherby because we need some agility potions for Tybo 1-0 trio and making friends with my arm. I also grabbed a handful of pineapples. Basically, there's a couple of diary tasks that require us to plant palm trees. Now, obviously, especially early on, the palm tree seeds are quite rare, so I don't want them to die and I would like to protect them. But to protect them, we need papaya fruits. And to get the papaya fruits, we need to plant some papaya trees. And I don't want those to die either. So obviously, we're going to get some pineapples to protect them too. Since we're here in Catherby with a fruit tree patch conveniently, that's where we're going to plant our papaya tree and protect it with those pineapples. So next up is Hosidius. This is our most useful farming patch at the moment because it's easy to get to and everything here is protected once you've got Hosidius favor. So we're going to be planting all our rare seeds like the Raynars here for now. We also need some sweet corn for Recipe for Disaster and also limpworts of course. And last but not least, we're going to plant some strawberries at Ardoin because it's a diary task here to harvest some. Pretty self-explanatory. Just planting both patches and hopefully at least one of them survives. If you want to ensure that your patches never die, don't forget to drop a like on this video. It really helps me out and is greatly appreciated. This is definitely not foreshadowing for anything. While we wait for those limpworts to grow, we might as well go work on a couple of other things. We're going to minigame teleport over to Pest Control, which is a diary task in itself. And once we jump off the boat, we're going to just repair the Lady Lumbridge here for the Dragon Slayer 1 quest, and then head over to the Port's Rim jail and also grab the Goblin map piece for the quest. Then head upstairs and speak to the security guard in the jail, which is another diary task for Falador. Last little thing while we're here, we're going to use the willow saplings we got last episode to craft the basket on the loom for the Falador diary task. And now it's off to Entrana. We're going to do a couple of these hot air balloon routes for a few more diary tasks as well. I'm always paranoid about messing these things up, but I got the wiki on the second screen. We should be okay. I spoke too soon. I must have misclicked. Damn it. I could have not shown that clip and you would have never known, but we share the ups and the downs here. Anyway, we made it through and we're going to take the hot air balloon back now with the Varrock route for a diary task. And we've also completed the Castle Wars route, so that'll be an Ardoin diary task as well. Really? You have got to be kidding me. The one farming patch that we wanted to grow because it's an actual diary task to harvest limpworts here, and that's the one patch that's dead. Bloody hell. Well, fortunately, all the other patches survived, so we've got most of the limpworts we need, and that means we can finish off this diary task in Varrock, and that will be our medium Varrock diary complete. Let's go get the reward. Thank you. Straight on to Herblore, of course, and 42 Herblore. Very nice. That is our third little green block in the diary log. We are making some good progress. Okay, this is actually the first step of our moneymaker, so a little hint and preview for you. Because we've got the bracelet of clay, we can actually mine soft clay straight from the rock, which just makes things a bit simpler. We're going to mine about 4 inventories of soft clay for now. Okay, that's all the clay we'll need. Let's move on. Oh, hello there, a collection log, our first Hespori seed, and that came from our first farming contract. That's a good little sign, I hope. As I was saying, that's our first ever farming contract complete on the account, so there's another first off the list. Let's see what kind of luck we've got in this very first seed pack. Oh, hey, Raynars straight away. Raynars from our very first seed pack. I cannot complain about that. That's a very, very good start. Oh, and Irits as well. Well, this was a good demonstration of why seed packs and farming contracts are so powerful for Ironman. There we go, that's better. Our limpworts are grown this time. That's the Kandaran medium diary task, and we should have enough limpworts now to do everything that we need. There's one last item we need to complete Temple of Ikov, and that's a U-bow. So we're going to spend a bit of time here in Puro Puro catching young implings, which have a 1 in 100 chance of getting a U longbow, which we're going to need for the quest. So fingers crossed this doesn't take too long. Okay, we've got our U longbow, and that was pretty quick, I think. Let's have a look. Yeah, 34 drops. Oh, what am I saying? 34 young implants to get the bow. That's pretty quick. Our luck is still going strong. I know everyone wants to see desert treasure. No one cares about this quest, but I just like to quickly say, I hate these ice spiders. Okay, Temple of Ikov complete. We are now set to go for desert treasure. Let's get cracking. Let the quest begin. Hey, whoa, 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 whoa. Abandoned mission. We're off to a great start. I completely forgot that the monk's robes are a Ceredoman item, and the bandits here don't quite like god items at all. So this is a special occasion. We actually get to put our Tome of Water from Temperos to use for once. It doesn't get as much use as the Tome of Fire, since the water spells are generally not as strong, but the Fareed boss in this quest is only weak to water spells if you want to use magic, so you have to use them, so we might as well get the perks from the Tome of Water as well. Not only does it give a 20% damage and accuracy boost to the water spells, it also gives a 20% boost to the curse spells. So things like Snare and Entangle will get a boost to their accuracy, which is really useful to help us kite some of these bosses around. Well, we've only got enough supplies for 2 prayer potions, and I don't really feel like getting more snake grass, so let's see if we can do the whole quest just with these 2. Okay, we've made it through the smoke dungeon to our first boss. This one's pretty straightforward. Like I said, we've got to use water spells to damage him, and we're just going to snare him and keep at a distance, and it should be pretty quick and easy. And there we go, that's our first kill down. I got so caught up in the fight, I completely forgot to use my wizard's mind bombs. I thought we might as well get the magic boost, but I completely forgot. So yeah, not much benefit there. The shadow gem is up next, and just while we're in the area, we're going to hand in Dwarf Cannon quest. We've already done all the other steps, we just got to finish it off, and that's Dwarf Cannon complete. Back to the main event, we've got to lockpick this chest, one of the most notorious chests in all of RuneScape, so let's see how long it takes us to get through. Oh, okay then, that was just 6 lockpicks. It can be so much worse than that. We just got really lucky with that. Okay, I'll take that. Let's move on to the next step then. Just before we go down to fight the boss, we're going to start up the Curse of the Empty Lord quest, and also kill a Shadow Hound while we're down here, which is a hard Candor and Diary task. So just like Fareed, we're going to use the Water Tome again. We can damage with other spells besides water, but we want to use the snares and kite him around the room. If he gets too close in melee range, he's going to pump us for a bunch of damage. In the second phase, he'll absolutely shred through all our prayer points, and since we only have 2 potions, don't really want to deal with that. Okay, once we got the kiting underway, that was pretty straightforward, so that's our second kill down. Mauritania next to kill Desus for the blood gem. We're not going to bother with snares this time, just stand around and face tank him, so we've brought Fire Blast for a bit of extra damage, and we'll just protect from melee prayer. Oh, 41 HP. Hey, 62 magic as well. That was a good little fight. And there we go. That one is pretty straightforward as well. On to the last and final boss, which is probably the hardest one sometimes. Oh, geez, I forgot how hard these trolls hit. We might not be able to get through this without having to use up all our prayer, which is going to be a nuisance. I don't really want to make more prayer potions. I got greedy. I looked away from my screen and didn't want to use my prayer. It was the last troll as well, and we had heaps of food left. I just missed eating. That's such a nuisance. We might as well go grab some snake grass and make some extra prayer potions at this point now, just to be on the safe side. Yay, 43 herb lore. I didn't want to be getting this level today. Reality is we didn't have to either if I had just paid attention and ate my food. Okay, we've made it to the last boss. Basically, if you're using magic, only fire spells will damage him, which is perfect for us with our fire tome. We're just going to engage Operation Face Tank again, and it should be relatively straightforward, I think. Yep, okay, that kill was actually, it was a lot easier than I was expecting it to be. For some reason, I remember it being a lot harder in the past, but that's nice. Let's move on. Well, that's pretty much the quest done. The last hurdle is usually running through this pyramid. Sometimes the traps and that can get you and you have to run all the way from the start again, but as usual, we got pretty lucky and got through first goes. And that's quest complete. Desert Treasure, one of the most iconic quests in RuneScape's history, complete, and Ancient Magic's unlocked. Let's go make some money. Just gonna quickly hand in Prince Ali Rescue and start up Temple of the Eye while we're running through Al-Kharid. So when people think of the Ancient Spellbook, normally what comes to mind is just that pure combat prowess, your blood barrages, your ice barrages, just becoming a lean, mean killing machine. However, we're not actually interested in those spells. What we're interested in is this one. The Padawa Teleport, also known as the Edgeville Dungeon Teleport. Now, the money making actually requires us to be on the regular spellbook to cast a different spell, so what we're going to need to do is make some Padawa Teleport tabs, which is why we mined that soft clay earlier. To make the tabs, we have to go to the Desert Treasure Pyramid, and since we're not late game yet, we don't have an easy teleport there like a Pharaoh Scepter, so I'm going to show you a little method using the gravestone so that we don't have to run back and forth, and we can get a few inventories done at once. Okay, so essentially what we're going to do is bring our first inventory of tab resources to the pyramid and craft them up. Then we're going to suicide just outside the door to the main room. Now this might sound a little bit silly, but we're going to go and suicide twice with 2 inventories of clay. Doing this at the Court Beast is incredibly fast. We can just use a games necklace and he'll one-shot us pretty much instantly, and then we can just rinse and repeat. The reason this works out is because in RuneScape, if you die while you have a grave up, the items that would have gone to the grave, instead of creating a new grave, will just go back to the existing grave that you already have, up to a certain limit. So the wiki says 42 of an individual item for most items, but you can see here I got up to 53. I believe what happens is if you're under that 42 cap when you die, then the next lot of items will just go all in at once. So that's why you can overflow above 42, and we got 53. Technically, if you were to wear some more valuable items when you suicide, so they protect over a couple of the clays, then you could get it up to 55, 56, I think, but this is plenty anyway. And then we're going to run back to the pyramid with another full inventory of clay and craft those ones up, and then withdraw the rest of the clay from the graveyard and make them all into telly tabs. So essentially throughout the process, you can make yourself 4 lots of telly tabs, but only have to run to the pyramid twice. It was my first time doing it, and I was a bit of a goofball at times, and not only did I accidentally try suicide a 3rd time, which doesn't work, obviously, I also ran out of lore runes, so I had to go and grab some more to finish my telly tabs off. So why exactly do we need those telly tabs? Well, here's your last hint. I need to go grab myself some cosmic runes as the final ingredient, a good 4,000 to 5,000 of them, and I can only buy 20 per world, so let's get shopping. This is going to take a while. I just spent an hour of my life hopping between worlds, buying runes in a medieval clicker game. And yet I'm still here playing. Us RuneScapers are a weird bunch. If you've made it this far in the video, a like would be greatly appreciated, just to confirm that there's some fellow committed players out there like me. Battle staves. That's where it all comes back to. Battle staves are just such a great source of GP. However, we don't really want to be running back and forth one inventory at a time to charge earth orbs. It's just so much slower. So we're going to take that little grave trick we learned and build up on it so that we can charge our earth orbs pretty much twice as fast as what we would have done otherwise. And this is why we needed the Padawan teleports. We need the charge earth orb spell, which is on the regular spell book, but we need to be able to get back to Edgefield quickly for each trip, and that's where the Padawan teleport comes into play. So the first thing we need to do is set up our grave again. Now, when it comes to the orbs, it's slightly different. We can only store 1 bonus inventory at a time. That's a similar thing for pure essence, bones, and a couple of other items. You can only have 28 in the grave rather than the 42. I guess Jagus was onto that one being a little bit too OP. So we want 3 items that will protect on death over the orbs. That way the maximum amount of orbs go to the grave each time. Coincidentally, there are pretty much 3 items that we want to carry with us at all times anyway. So the Earth Staff is obviously for casting charge Earth Orbs. The Ring of Dueling will get us to a bank, and the Games Necklace is to let us get to Corp quickly. You'll see I have a water rune with me. Now the reason for that is you want to keep at least 1 item in the grave at all times, otherwise it will despawn. You could technically just use the uncharged orbs and not withdraw the last one, but I prefer to have a separate item that you're never going to click on by accident, and then that item will be a placeholder. It could be anything really, it doesn't have to be a water rune, that's just what I was using. So once we get to the Earth Obelisk, we're going to let the spiders or Mr. Chronozon kill us, and we only have to do this once. When the grave is set up, every time we die, the timer actually resets, so it can stay here pretty much infinitely as long as we keep dying within the 15-minute window. Now that we're set up, we're going to run back with a looting bag, enough cosmic runes for 2 lots of earth orb charging, and then a second lot of unpowered orbs. Once we're at the obelisk, charge up all those earth orbs, put them into the looting bag, withdraw the ones that we just put into our grave through dying, and then charge those ones as well, and just like that, you've done 2 batch of earth orbs for 1 trip to the obelisk. So after that, it becomes a repeating cycle, basically alternating between 2 sets of inventories. We fill up a whole inventory of orbs and go to the Corporal Beast. That'll then fill up our grave with 1 inventory of orbs. Then we need to go to a bank. Now there's actually 2 ways you can do this. You can use the Ring of Dueling like I mentioned earlier, or you could actually play on a PvP world, so when you respawn in at Lumbridge, you'll be right next to a chest, and given it's pretty dead in the worlds and there shouldn't be anyone going here anyway, it's pretty safe. Withdraw your looting bag, cosmic runes, and another batch of orbs, and head back to the obelisk and charge them up. Rinse and repeat. So yeah, that's pretty much the core of the method and speeds up our acquisition of Earth Battle Staves. You're pretty much getting 2 runs for the price of 1 every time. It's much faster to go to Corp and Suicide and Inventory than it is to actually run all the way back to the obelisk with that second lot of orbs. Another little tip, sometimes the spiders outside the obelisk will poison you, so you can either take a sip of anti-venom before you run back to do your charging, or you can just try to box a skeleton or a black demon just before you run past the spiders. So yeah, that's pretty much the crux of the method, I think. Let me smash out these earth orbs and I'll see you guys, well, it'll be a few seconds for you, but a couple hours for me probably. Just to keep you in the loop, I actually got 3 magic levels out of all those orbs, 63, 64, and 65. And we are done. 1500 earth orbs in the bank. So because there's a limit on the number of orbs in the grave, sometimes there'll be an overflow. Fortunately, we don't lose those orbs. They actually just go to Death's coffer and we can withdraw them from him now at the end, and we can just come back and charge those later on. I know what you're thinking. We're still not rich, but we're right on the verge of it. Like any good Ironman journey, you can't just go straight from point A to point B. There's so many things to do along the way. To craft our battle stars, we need 58 crafting, which are a couple levels of short. However, we can make a mushroom pie, which is a +4 boost. It needs a Sulicep cap, so that's why I'm here just chopping these quickly. They're 1 in 100, and we'll grab a couple and then head on to make the battle stars. We've made ourselves 2 pies, that should be plenty. Make sure you cook them at the Lumbridge range because it guarantees not to burn at level 60 cooking. Otherwise, it's a much higher burn rate. So we can use a Wizard's Mind Bomb to get into the guild, and there's an annoying hard diary task. And now it's time to buy some battle stars. What was I saying again about Ironman and you can't just go from point A to point B and all that type of stuff? And that's hand in the sand complete. Hey, 57 crafting from that. Now let's buy some battle stars, round 2. I couldn't even buy a whole inventory on the first trip. That's alright, baby steps. Before long it'll snowball and we'll be rolling in cash again. Buy the starves, make the starves, alch the starves, repeat. And that's 58 crafting. We no longer have to use the mushroom pies. Awesome. Would you look at that? 500k. We're officially back past where we started the episode and we're starting to pick up steam. Hey look, I found someone doing the exact same thing as me. Hello buddy. There's 66 magic. Now we don't need a boost for the Wizards Guild anymore. That's excellent. And a very nice 1250 total level as well to round things out. Okay, it's the moment we've been waiting for. Drum roll please. Woohoo! We're officially a millionaire again. Yay! So after about 500 orbs, we're back up to a 1 million GP cash stack, and we've still got another 1,000 to go, so we should easily hit about 3 mil, a little bit over 3 mil maybe. So looking at the XP per hour, that took us about an hour and 20 minutes to get that first 1 mil, and remember, that's because we had to run back and forth with less than an inventory at a time to start. Now that we can sort of bulk buy our stars, it's quite a bit faster. Speaking of bulk buying the stars, now that we can get a decent amount, we're not stuck to staying in your nil to do the alching anymore. We can go and do some other typical activities like agility or thieving artifacts, or even just standing around waiting for some seaweed spores at Fossil Island. So I'm going to go do something like that in the background to build up the rest of this cash stack. Don't forget to drop a like on the video if you enjoyed and subscribe if you want to follow along the journey. It really helps me out and it's greatly appreciated. Previous videos on screen. Until next time, have a good one guys. See ya!